Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure unboxing and review, we're going to be looking at the Legacy Evolution Metalhawk figure. So what we're going to do this video in a second, we're going to unbox him live, have a look at the entire contents of the packaging. We're then going to have a detailed look at him in both of his modes to help you decide how you want to display him. We can then do some comparisons with him and his original Generation 1 self, and I'll discuss this in a bit more detail because, as you can see, he was an original Pretender and he had an inner bot and an outer shell. We can also see how he looks and compares with the original owner of the mould. I still think it's fantastic that they've got that from this mould. We can see how he looks and compares in size to some of the other figures from the same toy line as well. And what I mentioned about the Pretenders is I'm going to quickly discuss how they've just decided to go with the inner robot, which I think is brilliant. Whereas if you look at the newer figure of Skullgrin, it was a combination of the shell and the inner bot. So I've got quite a bit to go through with you on this video. So as I start to put these away, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to this channel, if they'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now, please, because it really will help me out. And the other thing as well is I need to thank In Demand Toys in the UK. That is the online retailer in which I purchased this from. And as you can see, they got him out to me nice and quickly and safely. So we've got the open box window there, which you can see the robots inside. So because of that, we've got the alternate mode there on the front. We've then got full artwork of the robot on the side, and indeed a zoom in close up of the bust just above that. We can see that he's going to take 18 steps to transform him, and it looks like we can combine the weapons as well, very similar to what you could do with the original. Also, if you've got two boxes, you can combine the artwork as well, and that will give you the Evolution poster. Okay, let's open this guy up, and I am super excited to see this guy purely because I absolutely love the original. If you're not familiar with who this character is, I would completely advise watching the Japanese cartoon known as Super God Master Force, because they were very lucky way back in the 80s when we stopped having Sunbow stopped making the cartoons for Generation 1. In Japan, they continued for a few more years, actually. And in 1988, the cartoon that they were showing at that particular time was exactly that. It was called Super God Master Force, and Hawk, or Metalhawk as he was referred to, was one of the main characters for the Autobots there. Now, I'm taking this out the bottom so I can do it nice and safely without damaging the box. Hopefully it'll come out there. Oh, wow, this guy feels nice and weighty. He looks very, very good. I said in the intro, and I'm probably going to say it a couple more times, I can't believe, or I just can't, I think it's amazing that they've got him from Cyclonus. What a great idea that is. So we can see we've got the two little weapons there. We've got the sword. That is looking to be a pretty much exact replica, maybe a bit smaller of the G1 original, which is great. What I need to do now then is just set him free from there and then come straight back to you. Okay, so here he is set free from the packaging, and he does look very, very good. We're going to do some first impressions now, then we're going to look at him in his alternate mode before coming back and then doing some final thoughts and poses with and without his weapons. So with regards to first impressions, he feels really weighty, he feels really sturdy, he's got great detail on the head sculpt. There is, of course, full articulation looking up and down, round to the sides, etc. The shoulders go around, the wings at the back do not hinder him at all. Full rotation out to the side, bicep flexion, shoulder swivel underneath. Yes we do, we actually do have a wrist swivel as well, that's in there. There is, of course, a waist swivel, but it's just at the very bottom of it rather than up there. The hips will go out to the side, to the front. There's a knee bend, ankle rock, everything you would expect with regards to a new figure, and he does look brilliant. We've got the two smaller guns, but to be honest, these are way bigger than I thought they were going to be, and I'm imagining we can combine these. We'll have a look at that in more detail in a second. We've got the larger sword, which is a bit of a copy from the original, which again I'll show you in a second. And indeed, we've got the instructions. So he's already a huge, massive improvement compared to the last, I suppose, a main line. Well, not even main line, was it? It was still a gift set. So these are pretty much the only ones that have been released since the original, and this guy at the moment is completely blowing them apart. And again, I like the fact that he's based just on the inner robot. So what I mean by that is that with all the other Pretender remakes that we've had so far, and don't get me wrong, I think they've been brilliant, I like that they stuck to just going with the inner robots. Main reason, and there's nothing wrong with it, as I say, I liked this, I liked Skullgrin, but what they did was they got Skullgrin and they sort, I suppose, join the two together. For those of you who are unaware, Skullgrin had an outer shell and then he had an inner robot as well, which converted basically into what this guy's alternate mode is. Same with Iguanus and same with Bombus. But what I like, as I say, about this, I like that they've just gone and decided to stay with just the inner robot. And as you can see, they really have just done exactly that. They've updated it. There's the red wings on the side, etc., and the other little guns. We're going to look at this in a bit more detail later on, but I wanted to show you that for now. And we're going to come back in a second and he's going to be in his alternate mode to have a look at that. Okay, then we're back, and as you can see, he's already in his alternate mode. Quick apologies for no transformation process on this video. That is for a couple of reasons. One is to keep the main length of the video down, and two, with it being a new figure, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who doesn't want it spoiling for themselves. However, it will be uploaded if you do want to see it as well. And again, you can see this. It is great. It is just a perfect homage to this figure in every single way. Even the fact of what I'm about to show you in a second, where we put the accessories on just to beef him out a teeny bit more, right down to, again, the color scheme, the way the paints match, everything is brilliant. The only other thing that people might not be aware of is the original one, though, was a die cast chest and indeed inner bot, but of course they weren't, and they wouldn't be replicating that nowadays anyway. But right down to the detail of the front, the fins at the back, etc. And as I say, with this as well, so this is the original little metalhawk figure, and here's the little guns which attach to the back like so. If you want to see more information on the actual original metalhawk, there's a video done of him on this channel as well, and I can as well put the big sword if I wanted to inside there. So with regards to the newer figure, here we go. Now you're not going to attach it via the 5mm dowel because it won't fit. Well, it will, but you see how it rests up, so it doesn't look as good. What we're going to go by is these little clips on the back, and as you can see, this just beefs out the whole alternate mode as well, makes it look exactly that little bit bigger, that little bit more filled out. But you can, of course, attach more things via the 5mm ports if indeed you wanted to. As I said, with this as well, you can take the sword and we can attach this on the back via that hole as well. That also reminds me, of course, of Target Master Cyclonus, but there indeed is the alternate mode. And as I say, it's way better than whichever alternate mode we had here, because this was just a reuse of a trigger happy mold from Titan's Return, and indeed this didn't really have an alternate mode apart from it was like a Target Master, so completely different leagues with regards to that. And again, with regards to Cyclonus's alternate mode, it's just different the way all the wings and everything go. But as regards to the homage and the similarities between this and the original, it really is great. It's so much fun. What we're going to do now, then, we're going to come back for the final time with him in his robot mode, do some more comparisons and see how he looks there. Okay, we're back for the final time with him back in his robot mode, and the main reason for that is that's the way I'm going to be choosing to definitely be displaying him. Also, again, the transformation process will be uploaded in the separate video. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a look how he looks with his accessories. So I wanted to show you this in a teeny bit more detail. So this is your new sword. It is still, you know, relatively flexible. It's not sharp at all anyway. And this is the original. So you can see what I mean there about the homage to that. The original one is just a little bit longer, but to be honest, because it's a 5mm peg, we could give him both of them. That's what I love about these figures now, that you can do things like this. So we could actually have both if you wanted to, and then of course with these little blasters you could put these on his legs any way you wanted to. With all these 5mm ports, the playability for these figures is just stunning. And then of course you've got the Evo Fusion, which is what it's advertising on the back of the box there, which is pretty much in the clues in the title, Fusion, fusing the two together. There you've got your larger blaster like so. So let's have a look. We could pop it there, we could maybe put it on the back, maybe look a bit like a rocket pack on there, etc. I'm just going to take the original sword out of his hands for now. Anything that I'm going to just point out, but not as a negative, but I know that people like me to show that there is a bit of a gap there in the forearm, because that's where the fist folds into, and of course we've got a bit of a gap there in the knee because that's where they fold into. However, as you can see, and you probably wouldn't even have noticed it if I hadn't have pointed it out, that they are easily covered up even in the poses that you can do. So that's the weapons one there. If you don't want him to carry the sword around, if you wanted one hand carrying each blaster, as I said, you can attach this to the back as well. Either way, it works really, really good. And as I said, it's just a great little homage to the originals. So what I'm going to do, to be honest, I probably will keep these together, but I'm going to just put them in individual hands just for now, just to show you this. And again, you see, you got the two choices, the same as what we had with, I'm not going to have it that way, I don't think. I can't remember how I had it at the beginning of the video, so I think I might just go this way around. They double up as tail fins and indeed as blasters, the same as the new one does. The only difference is you can't hold, don't think, maybe in a screw hole, but you can't properly store the weapons like that. So just for one quick comparison, I'm going to put these back in separate hands before joining them back together for how I'm going to be displaying them. So let's just get all the main Metalhawks together. And again, even with the Titan's Return, they did the same with the two weapons either side. This one doesn't carry anything. There's no competition, is there? Let's be honest, there's no competition at all. It would be interesting to see if they had perhaps amalgamized the two together with the shell, because I think this is probably the best Pretender shell that we did have released in Generation 1 times, but they didn't even bother, as I say, with this at all. Right, let's move this out of the way and let's just have a quick look at the Cyclonus mold right next to him, because again, it's so clever what they've done. There's only a few things which, you know, maybe telltale give it away. That is, of course, the knees when you tilt it up like that. The wings are reversed, which is good. And then much bigger. They've got, oh, you can fold these bits in and out as well, can you? I'm not too sure now I've said that. No, you can't, of course, whereas with the Cyclonus ones you could. Chest and everything looks a little bit different. Very clever, very clever use of this mold, which was easily one of the best or standout molds of the last few years. Great use of it there. Right, very quickly, some of the other figures in this particular toy line. We've got Needle Nose, who's a deluxe, but he's quite a big deluxe figure, to be fair. And then we've got an Armada Voyager class Starscream, which, funnily enough, he towers above. He really does tower above that figure. Looking really good there, to be honest. So one more thing I'm going to just very quickly do, and that is put these two back together, and indeed put the sword in his hands, because that is definitely how I'm going to be displaying him, because he's Metalhawk and he's got to have his sword. And as I said at the beginning, if you've not seen it, I strongly recommend watching Super God Master Force, the cartoon, because it's just very good, and it'll bring, well, it'll open your eyes to Overlord, and I imagine hopefully we might be getting a Buster and Hydra if we get a Dreadwind and Darkwing, who knows. But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. But in the meantime, this was the Legacy Evolution Metalhawk Voyager class figure. Let me know what you think of him in the comments. Take care, guys.